I hate my adopted dad. The recording app on my phone shows 47 minutes and 23 seconds when Dad finally stops yelling. I'm sitting on my bedroom floor with my back against the door, watching the red line flatten as his voice fades down the hallway. Another gem from my collection. You're just like your real parents, Riley. Ungrateful and worthless. Maybe I should have left you in foster care where you belong. That's what he said tonight, all because I forgot to take the trash out before dinner. The same man who hugged me at the adoption ceremony 9 years ago, who promised I'd never have to worry about being unwanted again. The same man who'll stand in front of 60 guests at his birthday party this Saturday and soak up praise for being such a wonderful father to a difficult child. I tap the stop button and save the file as dad_071523_trash. It joins 43 other recordings in my hidden folder, dating back 8 months to the night I finally got smart enough to start documenting this shit. 8 months of, you're not really my kid, and I sacrificed everything for you, and my personal favorite, Sarah and Michael never gave me half the trouble you do. Sarah and Michael. His real kids. The golden children who can do no wrong, even though Sarah totaled his BMW last year and Michael got suspended for cheating on his SATs. But somehow I'm the family disappointment because I got AB+ in calculus instead of an A. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom, Janet, technically, since she keeps reminding me I should call her that instead. Riley, please come downstairs and apologize to your father. You know how hard he works for this family. I stare at the message until the screen goes dark. She knows. She has to know. She's there for every lecture about how I should be more grateful, every comparison to Sarah and Michael, every threat about sending me back to the system. But she never says anything. Never stands up for me. Just smooths things over and pretends we're one big happy family. The house goes quiet except for the TV downstairs. Some cooking show Janet loves. In a few minutes, she'll bring me a plate of leftover dinner and sit on my bed with that worried expression, asking why I can't just try harder to get along with Dad. Why I have to be so difficult when he's given me such a good life. And maybe she's right. Maybe I am ungrateful. This house in Maple Grove is 10 times nicer than any foster home I lived in. I have my own room, my own bathroom, a college fund with $23,000 in it. Dad reminds me about that fund a lot. How Sarah and Michael's have twice as much, but still, aren't I lucky? I was 8 when they picked me up from Mrs. Henderson's place. 8 years old with a garbage bag full of clothes and a teddy bear missing one eye. Dad seemed so tall and safe back then. He let me choose paint colors for my new room and said I could call him whatever felt comfortable. It took me 3 months to work up the courage to call him Dad, and when I did, he smiled so wide I thought I'd finally found my forever family. The footsteps on the stairs are light. Janet with my dinner, right on schedule. She'll want to talk about Saturday's party, remind me to be on my best behavior for Dad's big day. She has no idea I'm planning to give him a gift he'll never forget. The knock comes exactly 3 minutes later, soft and hesitant like always. Riley. I brought you some lasagna. I don't move from my spot against the door. Not hungry. Sweetheart, you haven't eaten since lunch. Just let me. I said I'm not hungry, Janet. A pause. I can picture her standing there with the plate, probably still wearing that floral apron Dad bought her for Mother's Day. The one that says, "World's Best Mom," in cursive letters that mock me every time I see it. Your father didn't mean what he said upstairs. You know how stressed he gets with the quarterly reports due at work. I almost laugh. Stressed about work. Right. That's why he waited until Michael left for college orientation this morning to start in on me. That's why he only loses his temper when Sarah's at her friend's house. Pure coincidence, I'm sure. Riley, please. The Hendersons are coming Saturday night, and you know how much it would mean to your father if... The Hendersons? I scramble to my feet and yank the door open. Mrs. Henderson is coming to the party. Janet blinks, startled by my sudden appearance. She's holding a plate of lasagna that smells like oregano and false promises. Yes, didn't we mention? Your father invited her months ago. He thought it would be nice, since she was so instrumental in bringing you into our family. My heart pounds against my ribs. Mrs. Henderson. The only foster parent who ever actually cared, who cried when CPS moved me to the Carlsons' house because she couldn't afford to keep fostering after her husband died. She's the one who recommended me to Dad and Janet in the first place, who told them what a sweet, resilient child I was. She has no idea what her recommendation led to. That's great. I take the plate from Janet's hands, my mind already spinning. Really great. I can't wait to see her. Janet's face brightens like Christmas morning. Oh, I'm so glad you're excited. She asks about you every time your father runs into her at the grocery store. She'll be so proud to see how well you're doing. How well I'm doing. If only she knew about the recordings. If only she knew I've been planning to play them during Dad's speech, right after he finishes telling everyone what a saint he is for rescuing poor little Riley from the system. But now Mrs. Henderson changes everything. She'll be there, beaming with pride over her successful placement. She'll hear every cruel word Dad said to me over the past year. She'll know that her recommendation led to this. I can't do that to her. I won't. Janet. I force myself to take a bite of lasagna. What time is Mrs. Henderson coming on Saturday? 7:30, with everyone else. Why? Just wondering. I paste on my best fake smile. You're right, you know. I should apologize to Dad. This is his special day, and I want everything to be perfect. The relief that washes over Janet's face almost makes me feel guilty. Almost. Oh, Riley. That makes me so happy to hear. She reaches out like she wants to hug me, then stops herself. We don't do physical affection in this house. Not with me, anyway. He really does love you, sweetheart. Sometimes it's just hard for him to show it. I nod and take another bite. I know. I'll go talk to him after I finish eating. But I won't be apologizing. I'll be buying myself time to come up with a new plan. Because Mrs. Henderson or no Mrs. Henderson, Dad's reckoning is still coming. I just need to be smarter about it. Dad's in his office when I knock, hunched over his laptop with reading glasses perched on his nose. The same glasses he was wearing when he signed my adoption papers. Back then I thought they made him look wise and fatherly. Now they just make him look like what he is, a middle-aged accountant who gets off on controlling people smaller than him. Come in, Riley. He doesn't look up from the screen. Janet said you wanted to apologize. Yes, sir. I step inside and close the door behind me. His office always smells like leather cleaner and the expensive cologne Sarah bought him for Christmas. The walls are covered with family photos, but you have to look carefully to find me in any of them. When I do appear, I'm always positioned slightly apart from the group, like an afterthought cropped into the frame. I'm sorry I forgot about the trash. It won't happen again. Now he looks up, studying me over those wire-rimmed glasses. That's it. That's your apology. My jaw clenches, but I force my voice to stay level. I'm sorry I disappointed you. I know you work hard to provide for this family, and I should be more responsible. Better. He leans back in his chair, satisfied. You know, Riley, sometimes I wonder if I was too easy on you when you first came here. Maybe if I'd been stricter from the beginning, we wouldn't have these problems. I want to laugh. Too easy. The man who made me earn my weekly allowance by writing thank you letters to him every Sunday. Who took away my bedroom door for a month when I was 10 because I talked back once. But I just nod and keep my expression neutral. I've been thinking about Saturday, I say. About your party. I want to do something special for you. His eyebrows raise slightly. Oh. Maybe I could help with your speech. I know how much this celebration means to you, and I thought it might be nice if I could say a few words too. About how grateful I am for everything you've done for me. For a moment, something almost like genuine warmth crosses his face. That's very thoughtful, Riley. What did you have in mind? Just a short speech. Maybe after you finish talking, I could share some memories about joining the family. How much it meant to have someone believe in me. The lies slide off my tongue like honey. I think Mrs. Henderson would especially love to hear that. Mrs. Henderson. He nods approvingly. Yes, she's very fond of you. Always asking how you're adjusting, whether you're happy here. His smile turns sharp. I always tell her you're thriving. That we couldn't be prouder of the young woman you're becoming. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. That's exactly what I want to talk about in my speech. How you saved me. How different my life could have been without you and Janet. He's warming up to the idea now. I can see it in the way he straightens his shoulders, already imagining the praise from his guests. You know what? I think that's a wonderful idea. We'll make sure everyone knows what a success story you are. Perfect. I turn to leave, then pause at the door like the thought just occurred to me. Oh, and Dad. I was wondering if I could invite someone too. Just one person. Who? Marcus Williams. He was in foster care with me at the Henderson's place. He aged out of the system last year, but we've kept in touch. Another lie, but Dad doesn't know that. He's doing really well now, got a scholarship to community college, works at an auto shop. I thought it might be inspiring for your guests to meet someone who made it out on his own. Dad considers this, probably calculating how it would make him look even more generous by comparison. I suppose that would be fine. But make sure he understands this is a formal event. Of course. Thank you. I smile sweetly. This is going to be such a memorable night. He's already turning back to his laptop, dismissing me. Close the door on your way out. I do, but not before I catch sight of his computer screen. He's looking at boarding schools. Military academies. Residential programs for troubled teens. My blood turns to ice water. He's really planning to send me away. Probably after graduation, when it won't look suspicious to his friends. When he can spin it as helping me transition to independence. Well, two can play the planning game. I head upstairs and pull out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I find the number I'm looking for. It rings 3 times before a familiar voice answers. Channel 7 News, this is David Chin. Time to make this party really unforgettable. David, hi. This is Riley Castellanos. We met at the journalism camp last summer. Riley. Of course, I remember. You did that amazing piece on foster care reform. How are you doing? My hands shake as I pace around my room. David was a guest speaker at Northwestern's summer program for high school journalists. 26 years old, hungry for stories that matter, and the only professional reporter I've ever met who actually listened when kids talked. I'm good. Actually, I'm calling because I have a story for you. A big one. I'm listening. What would you say if I told you I had evidence of a local businessman systematically emotionally abusing his adopted child while publicly portraying himself as a hero? Someone who's been using his adoption story to boost his reputation in the community while privately threatening to send a kid back to foster care. There's a pause. I can hear keyboard clicking in the background. That's a serious accusation, Riley. What kind of evidence are we talking about? Audio recordings. Dozens of them. Plus documentation of financial disparities between how he treats his biological kids versus his adopted child. College funds, allowances, even Christmas presents. I've been tracking everything. And this businessman is. I take a deep breath. Richard Castellanos. He's VP of Operations at Sterling Financial Group. Sits on the board of 3 children's charities. He's receiving an award next month from the Maple Grove Community Foundation for his outstanding dedication to helping at-risk youth. More typing. Jesus. And you're the adopted child in this scenario? Yes. I'm 17, been recording him for 8 months. David, this man gets up in front of church congregations and charity galas talking about the importance of giving foster kids a chance, and then he goes home and tells me I'm worthless. That I should be grateful he didn't leave me to rot in the system. Riley, I'm so sorry. Are you safe right now? Physically? Yeah. He's never hit me. But I just caught him researching boarding schools and military academies. He's planning to ship me off somewhere after graduation. Okay, listen carefully. I want to help you, but I need to ask, have you talked to any adults about this? A school counselor, CPS, a trusted relative? I laugh bitterly. His sister thinks he walks on water. His wife enables everything. And I've been in the system before, David. You know what happens when a 17-year-old reports emotional abuse with no physical evidence. They get labeled as a problem child acting out. The recordings change that. Exactly. Which is why I'm calling. He's having his 50th birthday party this Saturday night. 60 guests, including Mrs. Henderson. She was my foster mom, the one who recommended me to him in the first place. He's planning to give a speech about his charitable work, probably mention his success story, adopted daughter. And you want to what, expose him publicly? I was going to, but Mrs. Henderson changes things. She's a good person, David. She doesn't deserve to be blindsided. But I also can't let him keep getting away with this. He's probably going to adopt again eventually. Some other kid is going to end up where I am. David's quiet for a long moment. What if there was another way? What if instead of ambushing him at the party, we did this properly? Investigation, interviews, a real news story. How long would that take? A few weeks, maybe a month. I'd need to verify everything, get legal review, talk to experts about emotional abuse patterns. I don't have a month. I graduate in June, and based on what I saw on his computer tonight, I think he's planning to send me away this summer. Once I turn 18, I lose any leverage I have. What about going to the party as planned, but instead of playing the recordings publicly, you get him talking on camera? I could be there as a guest, set up a situation where he incriminates himself without knowing he's being recorded for broadcast. My heart starts racing. You do that? Riley, if half of what you're telling me is true, this is exactly the kind of story that needs to be told. Kids aging out of foster care, adoption as performance art for wealthy do-gooders, this hits every button I care about. It's all true. Every word. Then here's what we're going to do. Send me 3 of your best recordings tonight, the ones that really show the pattern of abuse. I'll review them and start building a preliminary story. Saturday night, I'll come to the party with a small camera crew. We'll pose as a local interest story about community leaders. But what about Mrs. Henderson? She'll be devastated. We'll be discreet. Get your adoptive father alone, maybe ask for a private interview about his charitable work. Let him hang himself with his own words. Mrs. Henderson never has to know what hit him. I sink onto my bed, relief flooding through me. David, I can't thank you enough. Don't thank me yet. This kind of story can get messy. Are you prepared for what comes after? Because once this airs, your life is going to change completely. I look around my room, at the walls I painted 9 years ago when I still believed in happy endings, at the desk where I do homework he never acknowledges, at the window I've stared out of during countless lectures about gratitude. It's already changing. At least this way, I get to control how. You want to what? I'm staring at David's text message at 6:47 a.m., my coffee going cold on the kitchen counter. Janet's upstairs getting ready for work, and Dad left an hour ago for his morning jog around Maple Grove Park. The house is quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and my heart hammering against my ribs. Asterisk bad news. Station manager killed the story. Says we need corroborating witnesses and psychiatric evaluation to prove emotional abuse. Could take months. I'm sorry, Riley, asterisk. 3 days. I had 3 days of hope that someone was finally going to help me, and now it's gone. I scroll up to reread his message from last night, the one that made me sleep better than I have in months, asterisk listen to your recordings. This is solid gold. We're going to nail this bastard, asterisk. My phone buzzes again. Asterisk still want to help though. What if we live stream your speech on Saturday? Facebook Live, Instagram, whatever. Get it out there directly, no corporate interference, asterisk. I type back quickly, how would that work? Asterisk you give your grateful daughter speech like planned, but in the middle you pivot. Start playing the recordings through the sound system. I'll be streaming the whole thing live from multiple angles. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, it'll be too late to stop, asterisk. My hands shake as I consider this. It's messier than his original plan, more chaotic. But it's also more final. No corporate lawyers, no editorial review, no backing out. Mrs. Henderson will be there. Asterisk I know. But Riley, you said it yourself, he's going to do this to another kid. Mrs. Henderson will understand eventually, asterisk. The front door slams, making me jump. Dad's back from his run, breathing hard and checking his fitness tracker like he's training for the Olympics instead of just trying to stay ahead of his receding hairline. Morning, Riley. He's in a good mood, which somehow makes my stomach hurt worse. Janet left breakfast for you in the warming drawer. Thanks. I slip my phone into my pocket and grab the plate of scrambled eggs she made. They taste like cardboard, but I force myself to eat. Need to keep up appearances for 3 more days. I've been thinking about your speech, Dad says, stretching his calves against the kitchen island. Maybe we should practice it together. Make sure you hit the right notes. The right notes. Code for making sure I stick to his approved version of our family story. The sanitized fairy tale where poor little Riley got saved by St. Richard and lived gratefully ever after. That's a good idea. I actually stayed up late working on it. Another lie, but I'm getting good at those. I think you'll really like what I came up with. His smile is genuinely warm, and for just a second I remember being 8 years old and thinking this man was going to protect me forever. I'm proud of you, kiddo. I know I'm hard on you sometimes, but it's only because I see your potential. My potential. Right. The potential to be a perfect little grateful orphan who makes him look good at dinner parties. I found some old photos of us from when I first arrived, I continue, the plan forming as I speak. I thought maybe we could put together a slideshow to go with the speech. Show everyone how far we've come as a family. That's perfect. Very visual, very emotional. He's practically beaming now. Janet will love helping with that. She's got thousands of pictures stored on her computer. Including the ones from my first Christmas here, where you can see the size difference between my pile of presents and Sarah's. Including my 10th birthday party, where I'm the only kid in the photo because Dad forgot to help me invite friends. Including every family vacation where I'm standing slightly apart, never quite belonging. I'll ask her tonight, I say. This is going to be such a special evening. Dad heads upstairs for his shower, humming some classic rock song under his breath. The sound makes my skin crawl. In 3 days, he won't be humming anymore. I pull out my phone and text David back, asterisk let's do it. The live stream. All of it, asterisk. Asterisk you sure? Once this goes live, there's no taking it back, asterisk. I look around the kitchen with its granite countertops and stainless steel appliances, at the family calendar on the fridge with Dad's 50th birthday party, written in Janet's cheerful handwriting. At the life I'm about to blow up completely. Asterisk I'm sure. Send me the technical details, asterisk. Asterisk Riley, what about after? Where will you go, asterisk? That's the question I've been avoiding. The truth is, I have $847 in my savings account and nowhere to run. Mrs. Henderson is 73 and living on Social Security. I don't have relatives who take me in. At 17, I'm too old for most foster families and too young to make it completely on my own. But maybe that's okay. Maybe burning it all down is worth it, even if I get burned too. Asterisk I'll figure it out. Just help me make sure the whole world sees who Richard Castellanos really is, asterisk. Asterisk okay. But Riley? Record everything between now and Saturday. Everything. The more evidence we have, the harder it'll be for him to spin this as a troubled teen acting out, asterisk. I smile for the first time in days. Already on it. 3 more days of pretending. 3 more days of being the grateful rescued orphan. Then Richard Castellanos is going to learn what happens when you underestimate the kid you spent 9 years teaching to be tougher than she looks. The house feels different Thursday morning, like the air itself knows something's coming. I'm sitting at my desk pretending to study for my AP Literature final while actually transcribing my favorite recordings into a document I've titled, The Real Richard Castellanos. 47 audio files condensed into 12 pages of pure poison. My phone buzzes with a text from Sarah, asterisk flying in tomorrow night. Can't wait for Dad's party. Mom says you're giving a speech. That's so sweet of you, asterisk. Sweet. If only she knew. Sarah's always been decent to me, not warm exactly, but not cruel either. More like I'm a family friend she's politely obligated to acknowledge. In 2 days, she's going to watch me destroy her father in front of 60 people, including her boyfriend's parents and her old high school teachers. The guilt sits in my stomach like a rock, but I push it down. Sarah got 19 years of a loving father. She got college paid for without conditions, got encouragement instead of comparisons, got unconditional love instead of transactional approval. She'll survive learning the truth about who he really is. Another text, this one from Michael, asterisk driving up Saturday morning. Dad seems really excited about your speech. He keeps telling everyone his adopted daughter is finally appreciating everything he's done for her, asterisk. I screenshot that message and add it to my evidence folder. Even my brother, half-brother, technically, knows Dad's been waiting for me to publicly grovel. The whole family's in on the narrative that I'm some ungrateful brat who finally came around. A knock on my door interrupts my documentation. Riley? Can we talk for a minute? Janet's voice, but something's off about it. Shaky, uncertain. My blood turns cold as I quickly minimize my browser window and save my work. Come in. She enters carrying 2 cups of tea, which she only does when she's nervous about something. Her hands are trembling slightly as she sets 1 cup on my nightstand and settles into my desk chair. I wanted to talk to you about Saturday, she begins, not meeting my eyes. About your relationship with your father. My heart stops. Does she know? Has she figured out what I'm planning? What about it? Riley, I know things haven't always been easy between you two. I know he can be demanding. Critical. She finally looks at me, and I'm shocked to see tears in her eyes. But I need you to understand that he loves you. We both do. You're our daughter, just as much as Sarah is. The words should comfort me, but they don't. Because if that were true, she would have stopped him years ago. She would have stood up for me instead of making excuses for him. I know, Janet. That's why I want to give the speech. To show everyone how grateful I am. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Good. Because there's something else we need to discuss. She reaches into her cardigan pocket and pulls out a brochure. Your father and I have been talking about next year. About what's best for you after graduation. I take the brochure with numb fingers. Ashford Academy. A boarding school in Vermont specializing in leadership development for motivated young adults. The tuition is $45,000 a year. It's not a punishment, Janet says quickly, seeing my expression. It's an opportunity. They have an excellent college prep program, and you'd graduate with real leadership experience. Your father thinks it would help you develop more independence. Independence. That's a good one. What he means is getting me out of the house before I become too much of an inconvenience. Before his friends start asking why his adopted daughter isn't more visibly grateful for his generosity. When would I start? This fall. Right after your 18th birthday. She leans forward, reaching for my hand. Riley, I know it seems scary, but I really think this could be wonderful for you. A fresh start, away from all the tension here. Away from all the evidence I've been collecting. Away from anyone who might listen if I finally found the courage to speak up. How convenient. Does Sarah know about this? Janet's face tightens almost imperceptibly. Sarah's situation is different. She's studying locally, and she's always been more settled. You've been through so much trauma, sweetheart. Sometimes a change of environment can be healing. There it is. The implication that I'm damaged goods, that my problems stem from my past rather than my present. That shipping me off to Vermont is therapeutic rather than what it actually is, exile. I'd like to think about it, I managed to say. Of course. But Riley, your father's already submitted the application and paid the deposit. He wanted it to be a surprise, but I convinced him you should know before the party. A surprise. He was going to announce my banishment at his birthday celebration, probably frame it as another generous gift he's giving to his troubled daughter. Let everyone applaud his continued sacrifice while I smile and pretend to be grateful. That's really thoughtful of him. Janet stands, looking relieved that I'm taking it so well. I should let you get back to studying. But Riley? I'm proud of the young woman you're becoming. Your father is too, even if he doesn't always show it the right way. After she leaves, I sit staring at the Ashford Academy brochure until the words blur together. Happy students in polo shirts playing lacrosse. Small class sizes. Character building through structured discipline. Prison, essentially. Expensive, well-decorated prison designed to contain inconvenient adopted children until they age out of being their parents' responsibility. I pick up my phone and text David, * they're sending me to boarding school in the fall. Just found out. This party isn't just about exposing him anymore, it's my only chance before they ship me away, *. His response comes back immediately, * holy shit. That changes everything. We need to make this count, *. I know. David, I need you to promise me something. No matter what happens on Saturday, no matter how bad it gets, keep streaming. Don't stop recording until everyone knows the truth, *. Riley, are you okay? You sound scared, *. I look around my room, at the walls I won't see again after August, at the life I'm about to lose either way. Whether I expose Dad or not, whether I succeed or fail, my time in this house is ending. The only question is whether I go out quietly or take him down with me. * I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready, *. Friday afternoon, 24 hours before detonation, and everything falls apart. I'm in the garage looking for the old photo albums Janet mentioned when I hear Dad's voice through the thin wall that separates his office from the storage area. He's on the phone, and something in his tone makes me freeze behind a stack of Christmas decorations. No, I understand the timeline is tight, but I need this done before Monday morning. A pause. Riley Castellanos, age 17. The psychological evaluation needs to show she's a danger to herself and potentially others. My blood turns to ice. I press my ear against the wall, my hands shaking so badly I can barely hold onto the dusty photo album I grabbed as cover. Dr. Morrison, I've known you for 15 years. Our kids went to school together. I'm not asking you to fabricate anything, just interpret her behavior patterns in the most clinical way possible. His voice drops lower. The recordings she's been making, the obsessive documentation, the sudden personality changes. In the right context, it all points to serious psychological instability. Recordings. He knows about the recordings. Yes, I found them on her laptop when I was updating her software. 47 audio files of our private family conversations, going back months. She's been secretly recording me, Patricia, probably her siblings too. That's not normal teenage rebellion, that's paranoid behavior. The phone creaks as he leans back in his chair. Once you sign off on the evaluation, I can have her committed to Riverside Behavioral Health for a mandatory 72-hour hold. That should be enough time to get emergency guardianship extended past her 18th birthday. I slide down the wall until I'm sitting on the cold concrete floor. He's going to have me declared mentally incompetent. After tomorrow night, win or lose, he's planning to lock me up in a psychiatric facility. The party's tomorrow, and I suspect she's planning something dramatic. She asked to give a speech, wants to invite some boy from her past. My wife thinks it's sweet, but I know better. A bitter laugh. 17 years in the system changes a kid, makes them manipulative. Dangerous, even. Dr. Morrison must be objecting because Dad's voice gets sharp. I'm not overreacting, Alan. This girl has been systematically collecting evidence against me for months. Private family conversations, financial records she has no business accessing, even photos of Christmas presents trying to prove some kind of favoritism. She's building a case like she's planning to destroy our family. Well, he's not wrong about that last part. Look, I've got 60 people coming tomorrow night, including Patricia's boss and 3 members of the charity board. If Riley has some kind of breakdown in front of them, it won't just hurt our family, it'll damage the foundation's reputation. Kids like her who don't get help end up hurting people. I taste bile in the back of my throat. Kids like her. Like I'm some feral animal he's been trying to domesticate for 9 years. The boarding school won't take her now, not with this psychological profile developing. But Riverside has an excellent long-term program for teens with attachment disorders and paranoid tendencies. She could get the help she clearly needs. Attachment disorders. Paranoid tendencies. He's going to twist 9 years of his emotional abuse into evidence that I'm mentally ill. Monday morning, Alan. Have the paperwork ready. And thank you, Patricia and I just want what's best for Riley, even if she can't see that right now. The call ends, and I hear his chair squeak as he gets up. I grab the photo album and scramble toward the garage door, my mind racing. He knows about the recordings, which means he knows about David. Which means tomorrow night he'll be ready for whatever I'm planning. But he doesn't know I'm listening right now. He doesn't know I just heard him plan my imprisonment. I slip back into the house through the kitchen door, setting the album on the counter with hands that won't stop shaking. Janet's at the stove making her famous marinara sauce for tomorrow's pre-party dinner, humming along to some jazz station. Find what you were looking for, sweetheart. Yeah. Perfect. I flip through pages of family photos, my mind spinning. In every picture, I'm smiling. 8-year-old me grinning on Christmas morning. 10-year-old me blowing out birthday candles. 12-year-old me at Sarah's graduation. All those smiles, and he's going to use them as evidence that my current behavior is a recent psychological deterioration. Janet? I keep my voice carefully steady. Can I ask you something about Dr. Morrison? She looks up from the sauce, wooden spoon dripping. Alan Morrison. He's been our family doctor since before you came to us. Why? Dad was just on the phone with him. Something about a checkup before I start at Ashford Academy. The lie comes easily now. I was wondering what kind of doctor he is. Oh, he does a little bit of everything. Family practice, some psychology work. Very thorough. She returns to stirring. Your father probably wants to make sure you're emotionally ready for such a big transition. It's sweet of him to be so careful about your well-being. Sweet. Sure. My phone buzzes with a text from David, final equipment check tomorrow at 4 p.m. You ready for this? I look at Janet humming over her sauce, at the family photos scattered across the counter, at the life I'm about to lose no matter what happens tomorrow night. If I go through with the plan, Dad will have me committed as a delusional teenager having a psychotic break. If I don't, he'll ship me to Vermont and then have me committed anyway, just to be safe. Either way, Monday morning I'll be in a locked psychiatric ward while Dr. Morrison explains to anyone who'll listen that adopted children from traumatic backgrounds often develop elaborate fantasy lives to cope with their damaged psyches. More ready than ever, I text back. But David, I need you to promise me something else. If they try to stop the stream tomorrow, if they try to say I'm having a mental breakdown, don't let them spin this. I'm not crazy. Everything on those recordings is real, Riley, what's going on? You're scaring me, I close my eyes and type the truth, they're going to have me committed after tomorrow. Psychiatric hold, maybe longer. This isn't just about exposing him anymore. It's about making sure someone believes me before they lock me up and throw away the key, Jesus Christ. Riley, maybe we should call this off. Find another way, I look at the photo album, at 9 years of fake family memories, at Janet still humming like tomorrow is going to be a celebration instead of a war. There is no other way. Tomorrow night, we burn it all down. Or they bury me alive, Then we better make sure the whole world is watching. Saturday morning arrives gray and drizzly, like even the weather knows something terrible is coming. I'm awake at 5:23 a.m., staring at my phone screen showing 17 missed calls from a blocked number. They started at 2:47 a.m. and stopped around 4:15. Dad's psychological warfare, probably. Trying to make me paranoid and sleep-deprived before tonight. Joke's on him, I haven't slept properly in weeks anyway. I slip downstairs to find Janet already in the kitchen, surrounded by catering boxes and flower arrangements. She's wearing the navy dress she bought special for tonight, her hair already done in that stiff style she thinks makes her look sophisticated. Oh good, you're up early. I could use help moving the furniture in the living room. She's manic with party energy, the kind of forced cheerfulness that means she's stressed about everything being perfect. The caterers will be here at 3, and I want to make sure. The doorbell rings, cutting her off. We both freeze. It's barely dawn, who could be here this early? I'll get it, I say, but she's already heading for the front door, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Through the frosted glass, I can see 2 figures in uniform. My stomach drops. Janet opens the door to reveal Officer Martinez and another cop I don't recognize. Martinez has been to our house before, once when Michael got caught drinking at a party sophomore year, and again when Sarah's ex-boyfriend was stalking her on social media. He knows our family. Morning, Mrs. Castellanos. Sorry to bother you so early. Is Riley home? She's right here. Janet's voice is tight with confusion. Is everything all right? Martinez looks at me with something like pity in his eyes. Riley, we got a concerning call last night. Someone reported that you've been talking about hurting yourself. They were worried about your safety. The anonymous calls. Dad's backup plan, in case the psychiatric evaluation didn't move fast enough. Create a paper trail of mental health concerns, get the police involved, make it look like he's a worried father dealing with a suicidal teenager. I'm fine, I say carefully. I haven't been talking to anyone about hurting myself, because I haven't been thinking about hurting myself. The caller said you've been behaving erratically, making recordings of family members, talking about revenge fantasies. The second officer speaks for the first time, consulting a small notebook. They also mentioned you've been researching psychiatric facilities online. I almost laugh. Of course I've been researching Riverside Behavioral Health, I wanted to know what kind of prison Dad was planning to send me to. But now it looks like evidence of suicidal ideation. Officers, I think there's been a misunderstanding, Janet interjects, but her voice wavers. I can see her remembering the conversation about boarding school, about my difficult adjustment, about all the times Dad has painted me as troubled and unstable. We'd like to ask you a few questions, Riley. Just to make sure you're safe. Martinez gestures toward the living room. Can we sit down for a minute? I want to refuse, want to tell them this is harassment, want to scream that my adopted father is manipulating them into doing his dirty work. But I know how that would sound. Paranoid. Delusional. Exactly what Dad wants. Of course. I lead them to the couch, Janet hovering anxiously behind us. Riley, have you been recording conversations without people's consent? The question lands like a slap. Dad didn't just find my recordings, he turned them over to the police. Evidence of my disturbed behavior, probably. Sometimes I record things, yes. There's no point lying now. But not because I'm planning to hurt anyone. Because I want people to know the truth about what happens in this house. Martinez and his partner exchange a look. Janet's face goes white. What truth is that, Riley? And there it is. The moment where I either sound like a rational person reporting abuse, or like a delusional teenager having a breakdown. With Janet standing right there, with Dad probably listening from his office, with my entire future hanging on how I answer. I think about the party tonight, about David waiting with his equipment, about Mrs. Henderson who'll be arriving in 12 hours expecting to celebrate a success story. The truth about who Richard Castellanos really is, I say quietly. And I guess you'll find out tonight, just like everyone else. The officers exchange another look, and Martinez leans forward. Riley, we're going to need you to come with us for a wellness check. Just a few hours at the hospital, make sure you're okay. No. The word comes out sharper than I intended. I'm not going anywhere. I'm 18 in 3 months, I'm not suicidal, and I haven't broken any laws. Actually, recording people without their consent can be a misdemeanor in some circumstances, I interrupt. But this is my home, and one-party consent laws apply to conversations I'm actually part of. I looked it up. Janet sinks onto the armchair across from us. Riley, maybe you should just go with them. Get checked out, put everyone's minds at ease. Of course she wants me gone. Can't have the unstable adopted daughter causing a scene at Dad's big party. Better to have me safely locked up at Mercy General Psych Ward while 60 guests toast to Richard Castellanos' generosity. Mrs. Castellanos, has Riley shown any signs of aggression or paranoid behavior recently? The second officer is still taking notes, building a case for involuntary commitment. Well, she has been more withdrawn lately. And she asked to give a speech tonight, which was unusual. She's never wanted to speak publicly before. Janet wraps her arms around herself. Richard said she's been acting secretive, spending a lot of time on her computer. Because I'm 17 and that's what teenagers do, I say, but I can hear how defensive I sound. Look, someone called in a fake report because they don't want me at the party tonight. That's all this is. Why wouldn't they want you at the party? The million-dollar question. Because I'm planning to expose 9 years of emotional abuse in front of their friends. Because I have recordings that will destroy Dad's reputation. Because he's already paid Dr. Morrison to declare me mentally incompetent. You'd have to ask them. Martinez stands up, decision made. Riley, I'm going to need you to come with us for a voluntary evaluation. If you refuse, we'll have to make it involuntary. Based on what? An anonymous phone call. Based on concerning behavior patterns and potential danger to yourself or others. He's using the exact phrases Dad fed him. We can do this easy or hard, but you're coming with us. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text, probably from David wondering why I'm not responding to his earlier messages about equipment setup. In 6 hours, he'll be here with cameras and a live stream, ready to broadcast the truth to the world. If I'm in a psychiatric hold, none of that matters. Can I at least get dressed first? And grab my phone charger? Martinez nods. Officer Chen will accompany you upstairs. Just clothes and essentials. As we head up to my room, I hear Janet on the phone in hushed tones. Richard, you need to come home right now. The police are here for Riley. No, I think she's having some kind of breakdown. In my room, Officer Chen watches as I throw clothes into a backpack. My laptop is gone from my desk. Dad must have confiscated it after finding the recordings. But my phone is still in my pocket, and that's all I need. Ma'am, I need to check your bag before we go. She finds my phone charger, deodorant, a change of clothes. Normal things. She doesn't find the backup audio recorder I slip into my sock, or the USB drive with copies of everything taped inside my bra. Dad's standing in the foyer when we come downstairs, still in his running clothes but not breathing hard. He wasn't jogging, he was waiting nearby for the police to arrive. Riley, sweetheart, this is for your own good. He steps forward like he wants to hug me, and I see Officer Martinez watching our interaction carefully. Playing the concerned father right up until the end. I know exactly what this is, I reply. His smile doesn't waver, but his eyes go cold. Get better, kiddo. We'll be here when you're ready to come home. The lie slides off his tongue so easily. We both know I'm never coming home. As the squad car pulls away from 1247 Maple Grove Lane, I see Janet waving from the front window like I'm going to summer camp instead of psychiatric imprisonment. 6 hours until the party starts. 6 hours for Dad to tell everyone that poor Riley had a breakdown and had to be hospitalized, but the celebration must go on. But he doesn't know about David waiting at the coffee shop with his equipment. He doesn't know I gave my speech to someone who actually cares about the truth. The party's still happening tonight. I just won't be the one burning it down. The psychiatric hold at Mercy General lasts exactly 4 hours and 37 minutes. Long enough for Dad to tell everyone I had a minor episode, but not long enough to miss his precious party. Dr. Patel, the ER psychiatrist, sees right through the bullshit. Miss Castellanos, you don't present as suicidal or psychotic. Your effect is appropriate, your thought process is linear, and frankly, you seem more frustrated than unstable. She sets down her clipboard and looks at me directly. Want to tell me what's really going on here? So I do. Not everything, I'm not stupid enough to mention tonight's plan, but enough. The emotional abuse disguised as parenting. The threats about sending me back to foster care. The way Dad paints himself as a saint while treating me like an inconvenience he can't wait to dispose of. Have you documented any of this? Dr. Patel asks. Extensively. But somehow my adoptive father found out and decided I was having paranoid delusions. I keep my voice steady, clinical. Convenient timing, considering he's shipping me off to boarding school in the fall. She makes notes for another 10 minutes, then declares me mentally competent and releases me with a referral to a family counselor. I'd also recommend speaking with a social worker about your living situation, she adds quietly. What you're describing sounds like psychological abuse. Too little, too late, but I appreciate the validation. I call an Uber from the hospital parking lot at 6:15 p.m. Dad thinks I'm locked up for 72 hours minimum. He has no idea I'm about to show up at his party like a ghost at the feast. The ride back to Maple Grove takes 23 minutes. I spend it texting David, *change of plans. I'll be there after all. Are you ready, *? Holy shit, yes. Equipment set up in my van outside. How did you, *? Long story. Is Mrs. Henderson there yet, *? Just arrived. Riley, she looks so proud. She keeps telling people how excited she is to see you, *. The guilt hits me like a punch to the stomach, but I push it down. Mrs. Henderson will understand eventually. She has to. Dad's probably told everyone I had a breakdown. Use that. When I show up, it'll look like I recovered just in time to honor the man who saved me, *. You're sure about this? Because once we start streaming, there's no stopping, *. I look out the window at the familiar streets of my neighborhood. In 30 minutes, I'll either be free or destroyed. But at least I'll go down fighting. I'm sure. Mrs. Henderson deserves to know the truth about where she sent me, *. The Uber drops me at the corner of Maple Grove and Elm, 2 blocks from home. I can hear music and laughter drifting from our backyard, see the glow of string lights Dad hung this morning. 60 people celebrating a man they think they know. I walk around to the back gate, smoothing down my wrinkled dress and checking my phone. The backup recorder is still secure in my sock, the USB drive still hidden. Physical evidence they can't confiscate or claim doesn't exist. Through the fence slats, I can see Dad holding court near the bar, gesturing animatedly while Janet's book club friends hang on his every word. Sarah's there in a red sundress, looking radiant and happy. Michael's by the food table with his college girlfriend. And there's Mrs. Henderson, sitting at a table near the makeshift stage Dad set up for his speech. She's wearing her best blue dress and talking to the Carlsons, probably sharing stories about what a sweet child I was. In her purse, I know, she has a card she made for me. Something sentimental about how proud she is of the young woman I've become. Time to show her exactly what kind of young woman her recommendation created. I take a deep breath, paste on my biggest smile, and push open the gate. Surprise. Sorry I'm late, everyone. I wouldn't miss Dad's special night for the world. The silence that falls over the backyard is deafening. 60 faces turn toward me like I'm a ghost materializing at my own funeral. Dad's wine glass freezes halfway to his lips, his eyes going wide with something between shock and pure rage. Riley. Janet recovers first, rushing toward me with her arms outstretched. Sweetheart, what are you doing here? The doctor said you needed rest. I'm fine, Mom. I let her hug me, playing the part of the grateful daughter who just couldn't bear to miss her father's celebration. Just a little panic attack about starting senior year. You know how I get anxious about big changes. Over Janet's shoulder, I catch Dad's expression shifting from shock to calculation. He's already spinning the story in his head, figuring out how to use my surprise appearance to his advantage. The devoted daughter who discharged herself from the hospital just to honor her adoptive father. Riley, honey, you should be resting. Mrs. Henderson appears at my side, her weathered face creased with concern. She looks exactly the same as she did 9 years ago, gray hair and careful curls, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, the faint smell of lavender perfume. Richard told us you weren't feeling well. I'm much better now. I squeeze her hand, and the guilt threatens to choke me. I couldn't let Dad have his party without being here to tell everyone how grateful I am for this family. The crowd starts to relax, conversations resuming as people accept the narrative that I'm the loving daughter who couldn't stay away. Sarah approaches with a concerned smile, looking beautiful and worried in that effortless way she's mastered. You scared us. Are you sure you're okay? Perfect. I scan the crowd, looking for David. There, by the back fence, adjusting something on his phone. He catches my eye and nods once. The stream is live. Actually, I was hoping to give my speech soon. I have so much I want to share about Dad. Richard finally unfreezes, crossing the patio with his politician smile firmly in place. But I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw clenches as he approaches. Riley, sweetheart, you should have called. We were worried sick when the hospital said you left. His voice carries just the right note of paternal concern for the audience, but his eyes are cold as winter. Maybe you should take it easy tonight. Absolutely not. I turn to address the crowd, raising my voice just enough. Everyone, I know Dad was planning to give his speech later, but I'm so excited to share some stories about our family that I was hoping to go first. Is that okay? A murmur of approval ripples through the guests. Mrs. Henderson claps her hands together, beaming. Oh, how wonderful. Richard, she's grown into such a thoughtful young woman. Dad's trapped. He can't refuse without looking controlling in front of 60 people who think he's father of the year. Of course, kiddo. Whatever makes you happy. Janet appears with a microphone, the wireless one they rented for the occasion. Her hands shake slightly as she passes it to me, and I wonder if some part of her knows what's coming. I walk toward the small stage Dad set up earlier, my heart hammering against my ribs. In my peripheral vision, I can see David adjusting his camera angle. The red light on his phone indicates we're streaming live to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube simultaneously. 60 people settle into their seats, expecting a heartwarming tribute to Richard Castellanos' generosity. Mrs. Henderson has her hands clasped in her lap, looking proud enough to burst. I tap the microphone twice, and the feedback squeals through the speakers before settling into silence. Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate my dad's 50th birthday. My voice carries clearly across the backyard. I have so many things I want to share with you about the man Richard Castellanos really is. Things I think you all deserve to hear. Dad's smile never wavers, but I see him take a step closer to the stage. Too late, Richard. The whole world is watching now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for celebrating with us tonight. I grip the microphone, looking out at the sea of expectant faces. Mrs. Henderson is in the front row, her eyes shining with pride. 9 years ago, Richard and Janet Castellanos opened their hearts and their home to a scared 8-year-old girl who had nowhere else to go. A collective, ripples through the crowd. Dad relaxes slightly, probably thinking I'm sticking to the script after all. I want to share some memories with you tonight. Real memories, from someone who's lived in this house for 9 years. I pull out my phone, and Dad's expression shifts. I hope you don't mind, but I brought some audio to help tell our story. Riley, Dad starts forward, but I'm already pressing play on the first recording. His voice fills the backyard through the sound system, asterisk, you're just like your real parents, Riley. Ungrateful and worthless. Maybe I should have left you in foster care where you belong. Asterisk. The silence is deafening. Mrs. Henderson's hand flies to her mouth. That was Tuesday night, I say conversationally. Because I forgot to take out the trash. I scroll to another file. Here's Wednesday morning, after I got A+ on my calculus test. Asterisk, Sarah and Michael never gave me half the trouble you do. Maybe if you actually tried instead of making excuses, you'd understand what gratitude looks like. Asterisk. Riley, stop this. Janet's voice cuts through the stunned quiet, but I'm not stopping. Not now. Oh, I have so many more. 9 months of recordings, actually. I look directly at Dad, whose face has gone completely white. Should I play the one where you call me a burden? Or maybe the one where you threaten to send me back to foster care if I don't write you thank you letters every week? Mrs. Henderson stands up, her chair scraping against the patio stones. Richard, what is this? It's our troubled daughter having another episode, Dad says quickly, moving toward the stage. Riley, you're not well. You need to come down from there. I'm perfectly well, thanks to Dr. Patel at Mercy General. She said my thought processes are completely normal. I addressed the crowd again. Did you all know Dad had me involuntarily committed this morning? Well, tried to. Apparently someone made an anonymous call claiming I was suicidal. The guests are murmuring now, phones coming out to record. David catches my eye from across the yard and gives me a thumbs up, the live stream is working perfectly. Riley Marie Castellanos, you come down from there right now. Dad's voice has lost all pretense of warmth. There's the man I know. Actually, it's still Riley Martinez. I never legally changed my name. I smile sweetly. Hard to feel like a real daughter when your college fund has $23,000 in it and Sarah's has $67,000. When you get 3 Christmas presents and she gets 12. When your bedroom furniture comes from IKEA and hers comes from Pottery Barn. Money isn't everything, someone calls out, one of Dad's golf buddies, probably. You're right. Let me play you the one about love. I find the file from 2 weeks ago. Asterisk, you want to know why I'm harder on you than the others? Because they're actually mine. You're a project, Riley. A good deed that's gotten way too expensive. Asterisk. Mrs. Henderson sinks back into her chair like she's been physically struck. Oh my God, Richard. How could you? She's been secretly recording private family conversations for months, Dad says desperately. This is paranoid behavior. She needs professional help. The only thing I need help with is getting away from you. I pocket my phone and lean into the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Richard Castellanos, board member of 3 children's charities, winner of next month's Community Service Award, and the man who spent 9 years telling a foster kid she should be grateful he didn't throw her back. The crowd erupts. Voices raised in shock, argument, disbelief. I see Janet crying into her hands. Sarah staring at her father like she's never seen him before. Michael backing away from the stage with his mouth open. And Mrs. Henderson, rising from her chair with tears streaming down her face, walking directly toward the man she once trusted with a little girl's future. You monster, she whispers, but the microphone picks it up anyway. That sweet baby girl. How dare you? Dad's mask finally slips completely. That sweet baby girl is a manipulative little. Finish that sentence, I dare him. Please. Let everyone hear what you really think of your adopted daughter. He looks around at 60 horrified faces, at phones recording every word, at his reputation crumbling in real time. Get out, he says quietly. What was that? I couldn't quite hear you. Get out of my house. There it is. The real Richard Castellanos, finally revealed to everyone who thought they knew him. I set the microphone down gently on the stage. Happy 50th birthday, Dad. I hope it was everything you dreamed it would be. The aftermath of my speech unfolds in slow-motion chaos. Dad lunges toward the stage, but Mrs. Henderson intercepts him with surprising strength for a 73-year-old woman. Don't you dare touch her, Richard. Her voice shakes with rage I've never heard from her before. Don't you dare. Janet appears at my side as I climb down from the stage, her face streaked with mascara. Riley, please, can we just talk about this inside? Away from everyone. We've had 9 years to talk about it inside, I reply, pocketing my phone. Where were all these conversations when he was threatening to send me back to foster care every time I didn't meet his standards? The guests are dividing into camps. Some gathering around Dad, others approaching me with concerned expressions. I spot David near the back fence, still streaming everything live. His viewer count is climbing, 847 people and rising. Sarah pushes through the crowd, her red dress bright against the evening shadows. Riley, is this all true? The things on those recordings. Every word. I meet her eyes directly. Did you know about the college funds? The difference in our accounts? Her face crumples. I thought yours was smaller because you were younger. Dad said you had time to catch up. Sarah, honey, don't let her manipulate you too. Dad's voice cuts through our conversation. He's managed to break free from Mrs. Henderson and is working his way toward us. This is exactly the kind of divisive behavior I was telling Dr. Morrison about. The mention of Dr. Morrison makes my blood run cold. Speaking of which, everyone should know that Dad has been planning to have me declared mentally incompetent. Dr. Alan Morrison was supposed to sign off on papers Monday morning to extend his guardianship past my 18th birthday. A gasp runs through the remaining crowd. Mrs. Henderson whirls around to face Dad. Alan Morrison. Richard, that man lost his license to practice psychology 3 years ago for falsifying evaluations. The silence that follows is deafening. Dad's face cycles through emotions, surprise, anger, then calculation. That's not. Patricia must be confused about the details. I'm not confused about anything, you bastard. Mrs. Henderson's language shocks everyone, including me. Alan Morrison was my late husband's golf partner. He's been working construction since the medical board revoked his credentials for taking bribes from parents seeking disability accommodations for their children. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Dad wasn't just planning to have me declared incompetent, he was planning to pay a disgraced former psychiatrist to forge the paperwork. How much was it going to cost? I ask, stepping closer to him. How much were you planning to pay Dr. Morrison to sign off on locking me up? I don't know what you're talking about. 5,000. 10. What's the going rate for destroying a teenager's life these days? Michael appears next to Sarah, his college girlfriend hovering uncertainly behind him. Dad, please tell me Riley's making this up. Please tell me you weren't actually going to have her committed. For the first time all night, Dad looks genuinely rattled. His children, his real children, are staring at him like strangers. The guests who haven't fled are recording everything on their phones. His perfect reputation is disintegrating in real time. Everything I've done has been for this family's protection, he says finally. Riley has been exhibiting increasingly erratic behavior. The secret recordings, the obsessive documentation, the paranoid accusations. I was trying to get her help before she hurt herself or someone else. The only person I was planning to hurt was your reputation, I reply. Mission accomplished. Janet tugs at my arm. Riley, please. Can't we work this out privately? As a family? I look around the backyard at the wreckage of Dad's party. Overturned chairs, abandoned wine glasses, the birthday cake sitting untouched on its table. The string lights he hung so carefully this morning now illuminate the destruction of everything he built. We stopped being a family the first time he told me I wasn't really his daughter. The crowd starts to thin as neighbors and acquaintances realize they're witnessing something far more serious than family drama. But the people who matter, Mrs. Henderson, Sarah, Michael, and about 20 others, remain rooted in place, watching this 9-year lie finally collapse. Dad pulls out his phone, and I see him dialing 911. Yes, I need police and an ambulance at 1247, Maple Grove Lane. My adopted daughter is having a psychological crisis and making threats. What threats? I laugh, loud enough for his phone to pick up. I haven't threatened anyone. I've just been playing audio recordings of our private conversations. The 911 operator's voice is faintly audible through his phone. Sir, what kind of threats is she making? Dad looks around desperately, realizing he's trapped himself. She's trying to destroy our family. She's been planning this for months. Planning what, sir? Has she threatened violence? She's threatening to ruin my reputation. Even through the phone's tiny speaker, I can hear the operator's confusion. Sir, that's not a police matter unless she's made specific threats of harm. Dad hangs up, his face flushed with rage and embarrassment. The remaining guests shift uncomfortably, phone still recording everything. Mrs. Henderson approaches me, her hands shaking as she reaches into her purse. Riley, sweetheart, I have something for you. She pulls out a small wrapped gift. I brought this to celebrate how well you've been doing, but now. Her voice breaks. Now I realize I sent you into hell and called it a blessing. Mrs. Henderson, you couldn't have known. I should have checked on you more. I should have seen the signs. She looks at Dad with pure hatred. Richard, I recommended you because your references said you were patient and loving. Because your pastor said you understood children who'd been through trauma. I am patient. Dad explodes. Do you have any idea what it's like raising someone else's damaged kid? The tantrums, the behavioral problems, the constant need for reassurance. I was 8 years old, I say quietly. I was 8 years old and scared and missing my mom, and you saw that as behavioral problems. Sarah steps forward, her voice barely above a whisper. Dad, the Christmas presents thing, was that real? Did you really spend more on Michael and me? Janet answers before Dad can lie again. Your father said it didn't make sense to spend the same amount when Riley hadn't been with us as long. He said she needed to understand that privileges were earned over time. The admission hangs in the air like smoke. Michael runs his hands through his hair, looking sick. Jesus Christ, Dad. She was a little kid. She was a foster child with attachment issues and behavioral problems. Dad's composure is completely gone now. You have no idea what we dealt with the first few years. The nightmares, the bedwetting, the constant questions about her real parents. I gave that girl stability and structure when no one else wanted her. You gave her trauma on top of trauma, Mrs. Henderson says flatly. That's what you did. I pull out my phone again, scrolling to a recording from just 3 months ago. Want to hear his thoughts on my nightmares? This is from March 15th, after I woke up screaming about the car accident that killed my parents. Dad's face goes white. Riley, don't. I press play. His voice fills the backyard again, asterisk, for God's sake, Riley, it's been 9 years. Your real parents are dead. Get over it and stop waking up the whole house with your drama. Asterisk. The collective intake of breath from the remaining guests sounds like a gasp of pain. Sarah covers her mouth with both hands. Michael just stares at his father like he's seeing a monster. That's enough, Dad says quietly, his voice deadly calm. Everyone needs to leave. Now. This is a private family matter. Actually, says a voice from the back of the crowd, this became a public matter the moment you started accepting awards for your work with foster children. We all turn to see David approaching, his camera still rolling. Hi everyone. I'm David Chen from Channel 7 News. This live stream currently has over 3,000 viewers, and climbing. Dad's face transforms into something I've never seen before, pure, calculated rage mixed with the dawning realization that his entire life is about to change. Turn off that camera, he says, stepping toward David. Turn it off right now, or I'll. You'll what? David doesn't move. Threaten me like you've been threatening your daughter for 9 years. The two men face each other across the wreckage of the birthday party, while 3,000 strangers watch a family destroy itself in real time. Dad takes another step toward David, his fists clenched. I said turn off the camera. And I said no. David doesn't flinch. Riley, you want to tell everyone what happened this morning? About the psychiatric hold and Dr. Morrison. Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a call from an unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me answer. Riley Martinez. Yes. This is Detective Sarah Voss with Maple Grove PD. We've been monitoring a live stream involving allegations of child abuse and fraudulent psychiatric evaluations. Are you safe right now? I look around the backyard, at Dad seating 6 feet from David's camera, at the guests documenting everything on their phones, at Mrs. Henderson standing protectively beside me. I'm safe. Good. We're 3 minutes out. Can you keep that stream running until we arrive? Absolutely. Dad must hear something in my voice because his expression shifts from rage to fear. Who was that? Detective Voss. Apparently 3,000 viewers called the police when they heard about Dr. Morrison and the fake psychiatric evaluation. I smile for the first time all night. Turns out conspiracy to commit medical fraud is a felony. The color drains from his face completely. Janet sinks into a patio chair, finally understanding that this isn't something she can smooth over with apologies and explanations. Dad, Sarah says quietly, is it true? About Dr. Morrison. He looks at his daughter, his real daughter, the one he's loved unconditionally for 23 years, and I see the exact moment he decides to throw me under the bus one last time. Riley's been having psychological problems for months. I was trying to get her help before she hurt someone. Everything I did was to protect this family from her instability. Enough. Mrs. Henderson's voice cuts through the night like a whip crack. Richard Castellanos, you are a monster and a liar, and I will spend every remaining day of my life making sure everyone knows it. She turns to address David's camera directly, her weathered face fierce with determination. My name is Patricia Henderson. 9 years ago, I recommended this man as an adoptive father because I thought he would love and protect a little girl who had already been through hell. Instead, he tormented her. He broke her down systematically while playing the hero to anyone who would listen. Her voice gains strength as she continues. I want everyone watching this to know, Riley Martinez is one of the strongest, most resilient people I have ever met. She survived losing her parents, she survived the foster system, and she survived 9 years of psychological abuse from a man who should have protected her. I'm crying now, but they're tears of relief. Someone believes me. Someone who matters, someone who knew me before, finally sees the truth. The sound of sirens grows louder, and Dad makes one last desperate play. Patricia, you're 80 years old and confused. Riley's manipulated you just like she's manipulated everyone else tonight. I'm 73, my mind is perfectly clear, and you're going to jail, she replies calmly. 2 police cars pull into our driveway, red and blue lights painting the backyard in alternating colors. Detective Voss arrives with Officer Martinez, the same cop who tried to take me for a wellness check this morning. Riley Martinez. Detective Voss is a tall black woman with graying hair and kind eyes. I'm Detective Voss. Are you the young woman who's been live streaming? That's me. She looks around the scene, Dad backed against the fence, Janet crying in her chair, 60 people with phones documenting everything, David still streaming to an audience that's now over 5,000 viewers. Mr. Castellanos, we need to talk about Dr. Alan Morrison and some very interesting phone records we obtained about an hour ago. Dad's last hope dies in his eyes. I want a lawyer. That's your right. She nods to Officer Martinez, who approaches with handcuffs. Richard Castellanos, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit medical fraud and filing a false police report. As they read him his rights, I catch sight of the birthday cake still sitting untouched on its table. Happy 50th birthday Richard, written in cheerful blue frosting. Mrs. Henderson takes my hand as we watch them load Dad into the police car. Riley, sweetheart, you're coming home with me tonight. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about emancipation paperwork and college applications and everything he tried to steal from you. I squeeze her fingers and look directly into David's camera. My name is Riley Martinez. I was 8 years old when I was adopted by a man who spent 9 years teaching me I wasn't worth loving. But he was wrong. And if you're a kid in a situation like mine, watching this right now, you're worth loving too. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. David finally lowers the camera as the police cars disappear down Maple Grove Lane. The live stream ends with over 7,000 viewers and counting. Richard Castellanos spent 9 years trying to break me. Instead, I broke him. And I'm just getting started.